Hello, I will be presenting first the basics of Synchronous online lectures. This presentation was prepared by Dr. Joane Serrano, but I will be presenting on her behalf. For this first lecture, I will discuss the advantages and disadvantages of synchronous and asynchronous learning. And we want to select the tools for synchronous online lecture, and also I will present tips for your own synchronous online lectures. I will also discuss the difference between synchronous and asynchronous learning and demonstrate how to do it as well. So you see, online learning need not always be synchronous. It can also be asynchronous. In UPOU, mostly we are doing asynchronous learning, but we also do synchronous learning from time to time. So let's study further what synchronous learning is. Synchronous learning is done in real time with a live teacher or instructor. For example, right now I am doing a lecture and some people are listening. This is an example of synchronous learning. Teacher can provide immediate feedback to students. If your students are with you, connected to you online, they can ask and you can immediately provide feedback, just as in face-to-face sessions. So their experience is similar to that of a regular classroom, but you are not in the same location. You don't have to be in the same location. So this is an example of a synchronous learning that I did maybe 2 weeks ago. I was presenting a report and my colleagues from Japan and France were listening to me. And then we have that chat box there so that if we have to take important notes, we can put it there. As for synchronous learning, students learn at different times and locations, and the real-time interactions are very limited. It just depends on if you're online at the same time, then it can be real-time, but it doesn't have to be real-time. So it is self-paced, and learners complete requirements within a flexible time frame. In the learning management systems, we have discussion forums, self-guided materials, and pre-recorded videos. So this is an example. In one of the classes we have this lesson. So there is a pre-recorded video about SQLite, and there are additional materials that the students can access, PDF files, and an activity or the assignment, and also a discussion forum where students can interact. So this is an example of an asynchronous learning. For synchronous learning, students can get immediate feedback, and there is dynamic interaction with co-learners and teachers. Then teachers can immediately explain certain concepts when students are struggling. So you can interrupt the speaker and ask immediately. Right now, you can't interrupt me, but you can ask real time on the chat box, and we will answer later. The disadvantages are, first, the schedule is rigid. It's specific to a time frame, so it's time sensitive. And it is also dependent on strong internet connectivity. And in the Philippines, this is quite tricky, but so far, we're improving in this area. And it's also dependent on the quality of instructor. If maybe, I don't know. It depends. If I speak if the way I speak is not clear, then it can really affect the learning of the ones listening to me. For synchronous learning, it's more flexible because learners have more time to reflect on the content and go back to the content. And learners can review other resources to aid in the learning. In UPOU, since students, we have lots of students who are doing part-time studies, this is very, very useful. So they can just study whenever their schedule permits. And we adjust the schedules, we set the schedules like 1 week or 2 weeks deadline or even more, so that we can accommodate the schedule of our learners. The disadvantages are there is the lack of real-time interaction may lead to feeling of isolation, and some learners who need constant guidance may struggle, And this is really hard. The feedback is not given in real time. Sometimes the feedback takes a long time to come back because, of course, it's not synchronous. For example, you post something in the discussion forum and the teacher sees it now, but then the teacher is not prepared to answer right now. And then sometimes the teacher might forget to give the answer, and then you have to remind the teacher to give the feedback again. So this is a disadvantage, but through reminders, this can be dealt with. Now, I'm going to discuss considerations for your synchronous lecture. Online lectures are very different from face-to-face lectures. So even though the setting is the same, like I'm doing it live, it's still different because I actually don't have audience and that I see, who I see, and I'm not so sure if people are really listening to me right now. There are no visual cues, and it's weird if I say jokes right now because no one will laugh, something like that. So it's different. It's still different from face-to-face, even though it's similar. And again, the internet connection. Video conferencing requires internet connection, a stable internet connection. And also, not students have proper devices to connect to the lectures. Not all students have access to the internet, and not all students can afford the cost of data. So we have to consider these things if we want to shift our classes to online classes. Should we do it synchronously or asynchronously? So these are the considerations, for some considerations if you want to do synchronous lecture. If you want to prepare for a synchronous lecture, make sure you have a stable internet connection. And if you're doing it at home, find a semi-professional setting or environment. Maybe don't do it from your bed or somewhere. It's somewhere semi-professional and comfortable for you as well. A headset with a microphone is also very important because the way your voice, the audio is transmitted to the network is very important. So make sure you have a microphone and also a webcam, built-in or external, so that your students can see you. And this is very important: slides or script of lessons. In face-to-face classes, it is very common that the lecturers do ad-lib because you can adjust depending on how you see your students. But in synchronous lectures, it's quite hard to do. And also the time is very limited because you don't want to talk for hours. It can get really boring because there is no live interaction. So it's very important that you have slides to guide you on what you will say, or a script of the lesson, so that you will not go like far away from the discussion. Next, I would like to discuss some tools for synchronous learning that we have been using here. There are 5 main ones. I'm sure there are still others, but these are the most popular ones and we use them. So I will go first with Zoom, Skype, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live. I will skip the Google Hangouts Meet because I will do a demonstration at the end. So first, Zoom. Zoom is fairly new. It's been around for about 2 years, but it has really transformed the video conferencing world in this world. It's being used by many companies and universities for their meetings and audio conferencing, webinars, and live chat. There are free versions. There is a free one that you can download. Of course, there are limitations to the free version, but it's the best option if you're testing it out. With the free version of Zoom, users can hold unlimited number of meetings, but group meetings with multiple participants from 3 to 100, you can do that, but the durations are capped at 40 minutes, and the meetings cannot be recorded. So, and then there is a Zoom Pro. It's the best option if you're all located remotely. It costs about $15 per month as a meeting host. And this allows you to create a personal meeting ID for recurring meetings, and it allows meetings to be recorded in the cloud or on the devices of the users. It caps group meeting durations at 24 hours. Maybe you're not going to do meetings for 24 hours. That's quite hard. So here I'm just going to show a brief overview on how you could set up Zoom in your computer. Just go to zoom.us and then sign up. And then download it. And then download Zoom, install it in your computer. This is available for most operating systems, Mac OS, Windows, Linux. And so I think in this screenshots we were using Mac OS. So just download it. And then it's straightforward just on how you install a normal program. And then you can immediately schedule a meeting just by clicking this one, schedule a meeting, and then write your meeting there, specify the date, and set the meeting ID and all these settings. So you can turn off the video by default, or turn on the audio, mute the audio by default. So you can just set the specific settings in the scheduling meeting page. And then in your Zoom app, and then you can adjust the video preferences. You can check touch up my appearance to add a filter to your webcam. So you don't need to put on makeup or shower before joining a Zoom meeting from home. Or you can also turn off my video when joining a meeting so that they won't be shocked. In Zoom, you can record meetings, share your screen, and have breakout rooms and have virtual backgrounds. There are just really many features, and I would just like to share that Zoom actually has a webinar, and they just announced that they will be having a webinar, and you can check this. Zoom announced that they are going to have Zoom meetings for education, for students and educators. And you can check this link out. You can sign up here. So the Zoom administrators will be teaching everyone on how to use Zoom. So it's also a webinar like this, and it's good for 45 minutes. There. Next, I'm going to talk about Skype. Skype is also another tool that we use for synchronous lectures. Skype has been around for a long time. I'm not sure exactly for how long, and I've been using it for my personal meetings as well. It's from Microsoft, and it allows free calls for up to 50 people or for audio and video conferencing. 2003, so it's been there since 2003, quite a long time. So it's also very similar. You just download Skype from skype.com and then create an account and then start a meeting. You can share screens, drag and drop files, and recently you can also record meetings in Skype. I'll skip Google Hangouts Meet and go to Facebook Live. I personally haven't tried Facebook Live, but I've watched a lot of Facebook Live sessions. I think Facebook Live is very easy for novice users because since most people are using Facebook, it's very easy to set it up. And it's just on your Facebook account, so it's accessible to the people you give access to. Users can comment on videos as they play, and the broadcaster can interact with the users as they are streaming it. So in your Facebook page, there is just this live video option, and you can just click that and start your streaming. Next, we have YouTube Live. Are we live on YouTube right now? I think we're on YouTube Live, right? So this is what we're doing now. Here, there's also a place where the users can comment, the viewers can comment live and ask questions and interact with each other. If you're like doing it from your computer, broadcasting from your computer, and you have a copy of your YouTube screen there, then I can see the comments. But unfortunately, right now, I don't see the comments, so maybe I will check them out later and answer your questions.